The North Node is in Taurus. The North Node represents that way. That's the North Node. It's like what points evolution. And right now, for the next 18 months, it moved into Taurus, which means we're leaving behind all the Scorpio drama, the hidden agendas, what cannot be seen, pain, all of that. We're looking into what is more simple.
Hi, everyone. In case we haven't met, my name is Dr. Harmony, and I will help you live fearless, live loved, and live free. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know when all my videos and content come live. And before we get started, if you missed last month's astrology report for January, you'll find a link below and at the end of this video so that you can get plugged into that to get up to speed with some of the things we're talking about in this video. And also make sure to check out some of the ways that you can get connected with Tatiana below for an astrology reading, as well as the card deck that we have created. It's coming out in early March and we're taking reservations. So check out those links below. We'll also have some information on it at the end of this video. So stay tuned. This month we have the astrology report for February of 2022. And those numbers in itself sound so exciting to me from the balance of all the twos. Tatiana's back to share that with us. So thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you, Harmony, for having me back again. This is always so exciting to see. Let's dive into it. I'm going to share a screen so we get a visual of the main energies. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit the screen of the image again of the dominant energy that's going to be very present. And for those who watched the video for last month, this was already kind of there. It's just intensifying. And this is the Capricorn energy and this is the Aquarius energy. We're going to have a lot of that energy because a lot of planets right now are in Capricorn. And so the reason I bring this first is because there is this energy very heavily into the planning, which we discussed a little bit last month. So we're carrying forward with this energy. So still very present, planning, grounding, all of the desires of goals, what we want, what we love, what we want to strive for. All of that is going to be infused with the desire of what we want to attract and the ability to go get it. And then there's going to be also the exposure of shadow of power dynamics and power structures, because Capricorn rules over big structures, powerful pyramids, top-down structures, buildings. So a lot of that is also being revealed where all the dark stuff around power is lying, because Pluto, the lord of the underworld that brings from the shadows, is going to be with Mercury together. And Mercury is the messenger. It's the mind going down to the shadows to see what's going on with our structures of power, people in power, the top down, and all of that might be revealed. So a lot of energy of that is coming about.
From what I see, that's giving people more desire to take personal power, take back power we've lost, come into our own sovereign self and take action from a place of owning our power, working our power. And we talked last month about what you were saying is having the discipline to take the action to bring into form all that we've been doing up there in heaven with all of those branches, embodying it, integrating it, and then bringing it into our lives and our reality.
Absolutely. And what's happening is because this is very grounded energy, this is earth energy, a lot of the stuff we've been thinking, and now because all planets are direct, meaning the energy is now ready to start manifesting in the material world. All of these things we've been reviewing with being like thinking of desiring, because Venus and Mars are together. So as the desired nature, what we attract, what we love, with the capability of taking action and going for it. And then planning and setting goals, and then looking at the shadow and what we don't want to create anymore. If certain structures are no longer outdated, okay, gone. And then that's why we come into this Aquarius energy that is a little bit also very active as well. And the Aquarius energy will come a little bit later, more in form. As the sun moves through Aquarius and other planets enter Aquarius, this energy is going to be also more present. It's an air energy of the human family, of the higher mind, of higher and more elevated ideas. It's the science as well. It's energies, electricity. It's all of these flashes, so that we might be starting to feel that there's flashes of insight coming through to build upon all those very concrete desires. There's going to be also a lot of energy that is going to be saying, this is the way, just go do it.
So I see it's the fuel that we're creating in this electricity, and that's giving us the fuel we need. So this momentum we've been through with these retrogrades, especially with Venus retrograde, is building the momentum that's about to just really emerge.
Absolutely. And this is for me, big awakening energy. It's like a burst. Uranus brings this burst and is having a very nice conversation with Mars and Venus. We're going to have the new moon February 1st. And that new moon is going to be loaded with the theme of new ways of creating relationship, the new masculine feminine blending. Once we're in this harmony of masculine feminine yin yang, then energy flows through the central channel and then we manifest. It's very strong manifest energy. And I'm going to read from one of my favorite authors, astrology, also teacher and mentor, Ren Butler, from his book, The Archetypal Universe, that I always read from. Venus, Mars, Uranus is going to be activated. And it says a flashy and sparkling charisma, acting cravings for fun, a love of dynamic music and dance, rock and roll style, romantic and sexual adventures, sudden infatuations and attractions, flashes of passion, a fun-loving desire for variety in one's sexual experiences, sex as a celebration, urges to break through sexual barriers and free oneself from romantic constraints, unexpected romantic and sexual healing, the loving orgasm, the exhilarating rush.
This energy is like an orgasm, like based on what you explained.
Absolutely. You know, when you have Uranus involved with Venus, it's kind of challenging the convention, you know, the convention of relationships needs to be the white picket fence, romantic thing, we go together. No, this is kind of the twin flame energy of the divine feminine masculine. And it doesn't matter what form it takes in the real world. It could be very different. It's not the white picket fence, I get married, this we have children. No, it's the marriage of the sacred feminine, sacred masculine exploding into that unconventional way. It doesn't have to be the way we all thought it would be. It could be very different.
Twin flames, we're redefining relationships. So this makes complete sense. It's going to be a whole different form than what people have known.
Absolutely. So people might think, oh, the twin flame relationship or the soulmate or whatever, it's about this romantic thing that goes together. No, this is about that merging of feminine, masculine, and maybe creating relationships that would never thought would be possible, that have a different form. We don't even know what they really look like, but then because there's this desire to explore, to change, to break through the old pattern or the old way of doing relationship, it might bring this sensation that maybe all hearts can be connected, that it doesn't matter, it's as long as we are inside connected. And because that's Mars, Venus, and Uranus, it's those three planets in conversation, pushing us forward into new relationships. Now, Chiron is in the mix too. So what happens when Chiron's in the mix? There is also some pain there. Those things might still show up, like maybe even wanting to free oneself up completely in the love of source, love energy, and then maybe there's still the pain associated or the memories of past wounds and stuff like that. So what happens is we use our awareness, which is what we do here. Otherwise, we would not be watching this channel. We are all conscious beings already being awakened to this wisdom. Then the pain can be looked at not as a source of suffering anymore or codependency, what we've been working all through these years in the twin flame journey. It will be looked at as something that needs to be really seen and held and loved because it's part of the past, it's part of the memory. And now with Uranus pushing forward, it wants to release and break us free from those painful experiences. So this is an opportunity to heal. Take it or leave it. This is a little bit about that Uranus, Venus, Mars dynamic that is happening. So again, new unconventional relationships, new relationship dynamics, changes of style, something that clicks. It's almost that the quantum jump, you know, strong partnership energies, big desires to reach goals and free oneself also. And those goals are also linked to that Capricorn energy we're talking about. There's like a new reborn desire for something more free. It's the liberation. And at the same time, we're having this Pluto Mercury that I talked about. So you see, it's like a lot of that is going, see the shadow, break through, break free, and then explore new things. Be open. This is the time to have an open mind around what relationships actually mean. What does it mean to be with another? So when we have this new moon, because I'm very kind of talking about the new moon, it's going to pattern the whole month. So the first week is going to be patterned with this energy. And as well, we'll have also another difficult aspect. This is happening. We're going to have, again, this urge for freedom, and we might be feeling even more restricted because, again, this square is, so maybe we want to break free in our relationships and something, but then you might feel that there's still some limitation, difficulty that you just can't do it somehow. And somehow it's like, so it might feel uncomfortable, especially for people born around the 4th of February, November, August, and May. So if you were born around February 4th to the 10th, November 4th to the 10th, August 4th to the 10th, or May 4th to the 10th, this energy might feel especially that your whole identity wants to break free, but somehow you're not being able to. And this is what this is asking of you, is to take a deep look at what authorities have you allowed to rule over you, and how can you be the authority of you and create new systems, structures that work for you. This is going to be uncomfortable energy because as we're trying to free oneself, you might feel like a rash impulse to break free and just be a rebel. So this is not about being a rebel and just breaking things. It's about what's the need to rebel for and how can you be constructive about it. What new ways of doing something could you bring forth and create something that comes from your way of perceiving sovereignty, which is your authority. Right now, we might be like a lot of authorities, call it the government or call it whatever, are telling us, no, don't do this, don't do that. You have to do this, you have to do that. So this might bring a lot of tension. It's like, I'm fed up. Right? So instead of just throwing the baby with the bathwater and just breaking free recklessly, there is this, okay, if I really want to create a new freedom for myself, my identity, how can I do this with a plan that is going to work out and not feeling discouraged, because the feeling could be like you're squished like a little bug and you're like, that's how it could feel. So if this is you, take always deep breaths and know that this too shall pass, and grab onto that other energy that is your higher self, almost telling you it's okay to change. The change energy this month is huge. There's a lot of Uranus. Uranus is that electricity that is just pushing you to make changes. And if you're still stuck to the old way of thinking, the old way of being, the old way of doing relationships, the old way of dealing with money, the old way of everything, well, this energy is like running current and you're gonna go
like a taser, huh?
like a teaser. So when we have too much Uranian energy in the field, again, grounding is always the thing. But when there's a lot of electricity, it's like you need the grounding cable, and you do need to do your grounding exercises more than ever. Otherwise, it can become erratic. It can become uncomfortable, like the cables like this, you know, you don't want this plugged. And
I find too, being a creator, that if I don't use that energy for creation, it's an implosion. And one thing I will say is all of this energy has been coming in through and around me, like you're describing, and I'm experiencing it in a way that I'm creating like a mad scientist, to the point where I have all of these new things coming. And the funny thing is, and I haven't released this yet, but it's going to come out in February as a new program for quantum living. And, you're talking about all this quantum leaps and jumps and all these things, and that's exactly what it is. So I'm so excited about that, and also so excited to hear I got my alignment with the energy, because I couldn't wait to hear what this month was going to be about, knowing what I had ahead. Just I will add to that right now one thing, and you may be going to talk about this, but Mars and Venus will be in an exact neutrality,
and they will be trining Uranus. It's on February 13th is the exact conjunction. Mars and Venus are going to be at 14 degrees of Capricorn together like this. That's when that energy of, I know what I want. I have already, through the Venus retrograde, we did a reassessment and reevaluation of our values. Now that we know what it is, Venus is the receptive energy and Mars is the one that goes and get it. And when they're together, it's the perfect balance of, I know what I want and I'm going to go get it. And with Uranus mix, there might be unexpected, surprising things that you just appear. This is it. You're maybe calling in those unexpected things that you never even thought would appear in your life. Might just go boom, boom, boom. Again, it could be a person that just pops in. It could be that next level of twin flame that you've been waiting for. And maybe it's just this upgrade. And suddenly you are in this beautiful dynamic with another. And it doesn't have a label. And that's even better. Maybe even the twin flame label gets stitched. It could be of that magnitude. magnitude where it really doesn't matter. And that's that. And Venus and Mars are not very long time together, but because Venus has been going back and forth, they're going to be spending a lot of time together. This will give the energy a lot of time to settle in that balance of give and take, yin yang.
This is why these new relationships are going to be coming into unity.
A lot of that. Those who have already purged a lot of old, because with that energy of Mercury and Pluto purging, squeezing everything that we're still attached to from the structures that we have created in the past that really are not serving. Those structures are being agendas are being revealed. What happens when an agenda is revealed? You can see if it's a self-serving agenda or if it's a service to others agenda. All of those things are going to start bubbling to the surface. And when you build the new relationships, whether it is with your partner, your twin, somebody new coming in, it just doesn't matter. It's going to have a different vibration, a much more balanced one. So I think this is where we're kicking in a little bit of that feeling of what it means to be in this balance.
The rhythm. I've been seeing it as being in rhythm with yourself and rhythm with others and rhythm with my beloved, and finding the balance in how we can co-create, how we can coexist and cohabitate that, and be able to really lay a strong and solid foundation that allows everything else to be built upon.
This is like the first 2 weeks, and then the third and fourth week, there is a little break in the harshness of the energy because the North Node squaring February 17th. The North Node is in Taurus, and the North Node represents that way. That's the North Node. It's like what points evolution. And right now, for the next 18 months, it moved into Taurus, which means we're leaving behind all the Scorpio drama, the hidden agendas, what cannot be seen, pain, all of that. We're looking into what is more simple. And I think I mentioned this in the previous video, is simplicity, back to the earth, to the senses. You know what's going to probably happen too? That people are going to start actually touching again. This is going to come in. It's going to come back in. The desire to touch, to slow down, to walk on the grass, maybe plant vegetables, be with nature. That for the next 18 months is going to carry us there. And back to the sensuality, the senses, to touching. We've been 2 years separate, all in the mind, ideas, this, that, perspectives. Up here, what's going to happen now? It's going to go doom, 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 doom.
So we're shifting from the mind into the heart.
The heart and the body. And the invitation of this North Node is like to invite the feminine, because Taurus is ruled by Venus, the feminine principle. So we're literally now opening this walkway for Venus. Now, finally, it's like, can we invite that feminine principle into every aspect of our lives? And at that time of the 17th, there might be a lot of union energy with Mars, Venus, a big expansion of consciousness, because Jupiter is going to be conversing with Uranus. And we said Uranus is the one that brings all these new electric ideas, the future, and Jupiter makes it big. And they have a small conversation, which means it's not obvious. But if you take this energy and go, how could I expand my consciousness even more beyond? Then you can actually do something for it. It's not just gonna come. It's like, again, and we always keep repeating, meditate, create sacred rituals, all of that, always welcome to bring more of that feminine, more of that divine energy that come April, May, oh my God, it's gonna be like, while we're all still in the midst of that other difficult square with Saturn that is starting to subside, especially by the end of the month, we're going to start like feeling more, maybe more free, more relaxed, more hopeful, energized when you get the tinglies. And Uranus is that current. It's Kundalini as well.
The energy you're describing for all that, and the launch of our card deck coming out early March, that everyone will have links below. And if you missed the live we did, we'll have a link to that as well, for Twin Flame Oracle card deck that's coming out early March. And it's had its own agenda, and the energy that you're describing describing and how this is all going to be opening the doorways to release the resistance and the past and the new and the explosion. And the deck is coming out right on time into that energy.
Come February 17th with the full moon in Leo, we'll have again this energy of what we're still uncovering, we're still thinking of. You know, it's like when you have a crossroad and it goes like this, and you know you need to leap forward into that future, but you're still kind of like, ugh. So it might feel like that a little bit in that full moon, because the full moon is squaring the nodes, which means
it's given us an opportunity to choose the direction, being we are the creator in our power, right? To take back our power.
Yeah, it's almost like you're sitting there in this crossroads saying, should I go back to this drama, to this control, to these agendas, to all of that, or should I actually trust this path of the feminine that is easy, that it can flow, that it's grounded, that is slow, that is beautiful? There's no more efforting and pain. This is what we're leaving behind with Scorpio in the south node, and the sun being squished there and the moon in front because it's a full moon. There might be this kind of almost feeling of split here or there, and that always feels uncomfortable a little bit because the full moons is a culmination energy. So the themes of the first 2 weeks, where we're talking about planning what you want, go and get it, attract what you need, trust that the full moon, like, okay, this is it, this is
showtime.
That's the word, showtime. And then when showtime comes, then the last week is filled with easier aspects. I'm curious to look at the 2022.
That's definitely a portal.
It's definitely a portal. And in this portal, we're going to have a trine. Oh yeah, lots of Pisces energy already coming in. I remember back in the day, I used to listen to a wonderful spiritual guide called Matthias de Stefano. And he talked about this portal for a long time. And he would say, this is the time where the Kundalini of the earth will start like activating. The earth's Kundalini is going to start. So when there's this energy, we might also find that that's when there's earthquakes and movements and things shift around in nature, because shaking up, there might be a lot of that earthquake energy because it's going to be squaring Pluto. So it's the energy of volcanoes erupting. So when you have Uranus and Pluto, the underworld, the ground, what's underneath the ground, and you have Uranus shaking the ground, you could see earthquakes, you could see volcanoes. It's almost like a reforming of the land, so it can just purge more. It's a very purgy volcanic energy, and that's February 22nd, which is this portal. And at the same time, the moon is going to be in Scorpio on that day, trining all the Pisces energy that we're going to talk extensively in the next 2 months, because the Pisces energy is that veil. The veil finally lifts, or either you're completely confused, swimming in the ocean of everything, or you're completely surrendered to the ocean of consciousness. And I feel with this energy, it can be a very watery energy. It could be deep. It could be emotional. It could be almost like a cathartic moment for the earth, or a cathartic moment for each person, that especially if you have anything in Scorpio, because the moon will be in Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, Leo. If you're any of those, you might feel this shaking of your emotions, purging, volcanic. And at the same time, the North Node will be trining in exact conjunction for a little while, and they're going to trine the North Node. So as I said, the North Node is that where we're going in the Taurus, feminine, and Mars and Venus are traveling together. As we're having that catharsis, or the energy of the earth is shaking and volcanically exploding, whether it's real volcanoes and earthquakes, or internal volcanoes and earthquakes, or internal orgasmic energy. It could be literal orgasms. I think this is a very big renewal energy, very passionate. There's going to be so much passion involved, especially when Venus and Mars slowly come closer to Pluto, which would be more around the end of the month. We're going to have Venus, Mars, Pluto, and the moon kind of all together. So this is raw passion bursting through the seams. You can interpret that however you want. What is passion in your life? Is it the passion that you're finally finding within, or what you come here to be doing in this life? Is it the passion for the lover? It's just passionate energy.
I think it's passion for all of those. For me, I'm seeing when you are blocked in one area of your life, love, or livelihood, you have a block in all of them. So the minute you remove those interferences and release those subconscious programming that's blocking you from having passion or purpose within any of that, all doors open, because the pattern you do that in, the way you do that, once you master that formula, you're able to do that and have that in any area of your life. You just rinse and repeat it.
Yeah, and this energy is going to come in at the end of the month and bleed into March. Remember, energy is not like one day it happens. It's like it's a constant blending of colors. Days when you have something very specific and it might feel more intense, but the energy is always blending. This energy is going to be really, really strong at the end of the month, and combined with a little conversation of Neptune and Venus. What happens when Neptune and Venus converse? There's art, there's beauty, there's dance, there's magic. It's the divine feminine doing its dance. It's visual art, the wonders of the beyond, the beauty of the beyond. It's a possibility, right? Again, it's a sextile, which means the energy is not like in your face. It's almost saying, here, if you take this, so beautiful times for doing ceremony of the divine feminine, I would think, especially with Venus being so active. This is going to be huge for twin flame energy. Twin flame energy is that sacred marriage is going to be on point this whole month. Nonetheless, February 24th, 25th, there could also be some anxiety, restlessness, erratic thoughts, too much mental energy, because there's a square of Uranus, again, the electricity, to Mercury, which is again the mind, how we communicate, how we think. And when you have this kind of like zzz, it might create too much erratic thinking in the midst of all of that, because there could be such openness that maybe that creates a lot of confusion as well, or too much mental energy or too much excitement. Word of caution would be, if you're flying way off the handle in your thoughts, reel them in, take deep breaths. Because when your mind is erratic, like a monkey brain, it's very hard to ground anything. And because we're going to move from the very grounded Capricorn energy, planning, strategizing, we're going to move into a dissolved state of almost dreaminess and an otherworldliness vibe through the next months. It's like, so a good thing is don't unplug.
Stay in alignment with your senses so you can feel. The senses are really waking up for us to connect more to ourselves, with our brain, our body, our breath, coming into oneness with our being.
Think about this month, to summarize. It's like the beginning of the month might feel, I want this, I want that, we're going to do this, this is happening, this is the shadow, this is coming up. Boom, that's the first part of the month. There's going to still be struggle with, I want to be free, I don't know how, all of that. It's going to start easing up towards the second half of the month, bringing more of this union energy, bringing more of this hopeful energy, of this veil lifting energy. It's going to be more and more and more of that. So you see, it's a month of a transition from a very dull, hard, still, convoluted thing into something that's going to open. This portal of the 2 definitely marks
the opening to the new.
Yeah, it does. So I'm really surprised at that thought of what Matthias de Stefan was saying a few years back. I had been waiting, I remember, for this day, because I'm like, oh my gosh, there needs to be some important ritual or something that day. And I've been waiting for a couple of years already. Even before the pandemic, I was like, what's going to happen then? I'm like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. We create what happens when we come in this alignment. So I'm like super stoked.
I'm super excited too. And I've been so looking forward to this energy coming up for February, because I'm always kind of a few steps ahead, and I could already feel what was coming, and you're just confirming all of that. So I just can't even wait for so many things that I know I've been working to birth, and did a little reroute to go a little deeper, to learn a little more, to connect more, to own more my power. And I can feel this explosion, this orgasmic explosion of creation that is just going to be like fireworks. Some envision like pop, 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 you know, like everything's just going to like pop up all at the same time. So
an orb just flew by your screen. I saw it fly. So if
it
you
doesn't surprise me.
people, if you rewind a little bit, you'll see the little orb flying.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Tatiana, for coming today and sharing this energy with us for the astrology report. Make sure everyone to check out Tatiana's evolutionary astrology readings and the links below, and all the ways you can go forward with her with all the beautiful artwork she has, as well as our card deck is now available for reservations and pre-orders. And there is some specific things for if you're in the United States or if you're in another country. So make sure to look at the description below and it can direct you onto what works best for you based on she's in Canada, I'm in the United States. And then if you're in other countries, it is possible to get that reserved as well, but there'll be some options for you to do that. May everybody just embrace this beautiful, bold, bright energy, capture it, catch the wave, ride it out, embrace this journey because it's what we've all been waiting for. And I know I've got lots of things coming, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Check out Tatiana's things that I mentioned, and may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.